there's a formula to it. A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect. It's a statement on modern society. Ooh, ain't modern society awful?
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Welcome back to the Cabin Night Podcast. I'm Rob.
I'm Jake.
I'm James.
Hi, James.
Hello.
Today's episode is about fictional deaths and maybe that we still not aren't over. Very vague. Before we get there, we'd like to invite you to grab a drink, make yourself comfortable, and enjoy the discussion. So, fictional deaths. And it can be anything that you're still not over, that you still can't believe this happened.
I don't think...
Is there an ultimate one? Is there one that automatically just...
We should say going forward, spoiler alert for fucknos going forward.
Yes.
So, just be
Spoiler alerts, there will be lots.
But if we say what is spoiler alerts for, there's spoilers for them and someone's going to die. So just spoiler alerts for everything going forward.
If you haven't watched anything over the last 300 years, there's going to be spoiler alerts.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think there's any one that I would say I'm not over as such. There's some that shocked me. There's plenty that shocked me. There's lots where I thought, shit, I did not see that coming, because that's something I do pride myself on. A lot of the stuff we watch is trying to figure out where they're going and what's the plan and all that sort of thing.
What's going where.
And I'm generally not too far off mark. So when something has shocked me, and it's a weird one, because it's not the deaths of the people who die themselves. It's more the fact that the person who's killing them.
Yeah.
And that's where I come on to Breaking Bad, just as a good starting point.
Whoa! Spoilers!
The two drug dealers that Walt kills, it's looking for all intents and purposes like Jesse's going to get killed, and then Walt in his dadmobile comes flying out of nowhere and ploughs these two drug dealers over. One who's still alive and he's crawling away, all mangled up. Walt pulls a gun out, shoots him twice, and then just turns to Jesse and says, "Run." And it's just, as deaths go, they were two of the most shocking. Not because I was particularly sad about those people dying.
Yeah.
It's more the fact the person who was doing the killing that I was just like, wow, did not expect him to be. I know he was heading down that path, in terms of the story, but yeah.
There is
starting point.
There's one definitely for me, and it's not that I'm not over it, but just because it was so shocking.
Never ending story. That's Emma, isn't it?
Yeah. In 24, I think season 4.
3 or 4. David Power.
No. Not there. Edgar. So they release, I think it's 3. They release a pathogen into a hotel, and they all go to this hotel to save the people in the hotel. But they also release it inside CTU. And Edgar is quite a big chubby guy. Is the nicest guy. He never has a crossword with anybody. He's so nice. And they release it in, and he doesn't get in the conference room, because the conference room is protected, because it's got all the fancy, because that's where they do all the conference, and if CTU get hit and all that sort of stuff. And he doesn't make it into CTU, into the conference room in time. And Chloe's on the outside and the inside of the door, and Edgar's on the outside. And you're watching as the nicest man in the series dies, and it's just like, why did you need... He's a dickhead, why didn't you kill him instead?
Because is it that same one where George cops it as well? George gets the pathogen.
That's in 2. When he flies the plane?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in 2.
George, incidentally, was also John Connor's stepdad in...
It is, yeah. Yeah, it is, yeah.
When he gets there.
Yeah. Again, not that I'm not over it. I'm over it, but it's just like, it's like when, not that I wish illness upon anybody, but when rock stars or whatever get illnesses or die, and you think, well, I mean, I liked that rock star. Why can't that rock star go? Not that you want anybody to die, but you just kind of like, why that one? I like that one. So yeah, that was one for me. I don't know if I probably could think about one that I've got that's
really gets you.
That really gets me.
Well, have you got one?
The one that always comes off the top of my head when you talk about stuff like this is Wash in Serenity. I'll never get over that one. If you don't know it, Serenity is the film sequel to the excellent TV series Firefly, and there is no other opinion. There is no other opinion to have on this TV series.
Nancy.
Says you must watch 24. You must watch 24. Anyway,
Yeah, you must, because it's good.
Firefly's better. Only 14 episodes for one.
Yeah, it's because it got cancelled.
Anyway,
Did 24 get cancelled?
Nope.
no, it was the victim of generic American programming. But anyway, let's not get into that.
We've discussed that in season 1.
So, in Serenity, it's building up to this climactic battle, and halfway through the film, one of the because there's a sort of core cast of about 9 characters, and about halfway through the film, one of the 9 does die, gets killed not off screen, but is in a battle off screen. They find them dying, so you think, well, that's the big kind of emotional moment. So they go towards this big final battle, flying through the air, avoiding ships left, right, and centre. They hit this really heroic landing. Sort of, he saves everyone. Everyone's going, and he's halfway through saying a line he keeps saying throughout the films. A leaf on the wind, watch how I soar type thing is meant to be as he's flying the ship, and he's just halfway through saying it, he gets impaled with a giant branch that's been fired from another ship, and he gets just really dramatic. So halfway through, I'm a leaf on the wind, and just straight away, just dies straight away. No dramatic monologuing, nothing like, just straight away.
And which character is this?
That's
Wash. I've got mine, but it will spoil things for you.
Alan
Tudyk.
Yeah.
Playing Wash.
Have you seen all of Supernatural?
No, but I know the story.
Then it will spoil it for you too.
I'll forget by the time.
I'm quite alright with it being spoiled.
Okay. Are you finished with yours?
I was just about to say it's still traumatic to this day. It's still
I
traumatic.
think what gets you with that sort of thing is it almost feels like senseless.
A little
It's not
bit.
necessarily they didn't need to die, and that's almost like it makes it even worse.
It's the one thing I've said about 24. I think the only way to end 24 is to kill Jack Bauer.
Yeah.
But how can you kill a man that survived so many different
You've got
things?
to have a justifiable
You've
death,
got to do it in a way, like,
much as it was as a
yeah, like what family members left at this point is uncle 3 times removed or whatever he is, comes back and just kills him. It's got to be like that, just the most random thing. But you can't. It's like Sid in Scream. You can't kill her off. She's survived all these films. She's been the final girl for them all. Not like Jamie Lee Curtis has only been a final girl for a few of the Halloweens. Friday the 13th changed final girls. Nightmare on Elm Street's changed final girls. It's always been somebody different. Whereas Sid is the only constant in. Well, Gale and Dewey, that trio are the only constant through the whole of the Scream. So you to kill her off now.
Feels like they'd only be doing it for like a stunt movie.
It'd be a shock. Value. It would be shock value. But then people like me would go, oh, I don't want to see the next Scream because
she's not in it. Yeah.
I know she's not going to appear. Not that. I mean, if they did it kind of off screen where she isn't dead, but you think she's dead. Okay, I'll watch it, see if she comes back. All right, she's dead now. I'm done.
Yeah.
It would kind of ruin it. The one for me, and again because it's so out of character, is the end of Supernatural. The end of Supernatural is so heartbreaking.
Oh, I know. Hayes already told me.
So they go through the whole seasons, and the running joke with Supernatural is which one of the two brothers is going to hell. Is it Sam or Dean or Sam or Dean?
Which one's going to die this season?
Which one's going to die this season? So they get to the end of season 15, and they defeat the big boss level evil. They've done it. It's gone. Everything is now good. There are still vampires, there are still Wendigos, there are still these other things that they need to go and kill. They go on a vampire hunt. Pretty standard for Supernatural. Nothing can go wrong. One of the vampires rugby tackles Dean. And all of a sudden Dean goes, oh, and he's got impaled on a pillar behind him. There's a big thing sticking. And you just think, out of everything, he's been to hell 10 times so far. Why that? Why that? why does just a random vampire hunt kill him? It makes sense in what they say, because when he gets then to heaven, he meets Bobby, and Bobby says, it doesn't take long here. It's eternity in real life, but it doesn't take long here. And in the next 3 minutes of the episode, it shows you Sam growing old, and Sam dying, and then Sam appears. But I just think, why? Why kill one of them? I know they wanted that end bit, they drive off into the sun together as brothers in heaven. I get that bit. I just think, why?
I suppose it's the shock factor, you know, so not that I've seen a lot of Supernatural, but it's that shock factor of, you know, they're fighting the demons, but the battle's never, you know, they can be the big bad, but the battle's never true. They can still go at any point.
But they've both been to hell. They've both died so many times and come back. It's not even the random, it's just a normal vampire hunt. It's just, why kill? I mean, to be fair, at this point of Supernatural, there's none of them left. But still, it's still one of the most heartbreaking. And I weren't the biggest Supernatural fan, but watching that, showing what it did to Emma and what it probably did to Hayley at the same time, I was sat.
Hayley was heavily pregnant at the time when she watched it as well, so she was very emotional.
This is a little bit. I don't know about this. Yeah, that I think that would be the fictional death for me. It's Dean Winchester.
Okay.
There was no need to do it that way. There was no need to do it. Did complete it. Did one. They'd leveled up to level 3000. They were there.
I think Stranger Things is a good one because just very recently we watched series 4, and the last episode of series 4 had both me and Becky pretty much close to tears.
They're only doing one more season of that.
Yeah, and it's done.
Then it's done.
They said that there'll be probably more stories from the universe, but this is the end of this group of characters' story. Yeah. It's going to be the end of like 11th story and all the rest of it. But
it's one of them things that everybody says I should really should watch it because I really like it. But
We've not watched any of it yet.
I've watched 3 episodes at first season. I'm just like, this is taking just a little bit too long to get into. I'm not saying it won't get there, but I'm just like, I don't want to watch. This is just boring me. This is really just boring me. Just get into it, please.
so when the bad guy in series 4, who's an unconscious based demon, a demon based in the subconscious or the unconscious, says the words Nancy in a bit of voice. And it's also the same series in which Robert Englund's in it as well.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to convince you.
No. Is
saying,
that Robert Englund the unconscious demon? No.
No.
The only
Jamie
other
Campbell
one.
Bower.
The only other one for me, I think that, and you were like Slipknot for me when you watched it. You told me you weren't so keen on it. Was Afterlife. Obviously, Harold Ramis died in 2014. He can't be in the Ghostbusters in 2021. He can't be in it. And so at the beginning of Afterlife, Egon dies. He goes to fight a ghost and he dies. At the end of Afterlife, a ghost Egon appears. That absolutely broke me. Absolutely. I was like, I could go now, just thinking about it. Just thinking about that scene.
It gets you. I don't know if there's any that... Yeah, like, I don't want to go too much into detail of Stranger Things Series 4 because I feel like...
It's still relatively new.
Yeah. But there's a moment at which you expect a character to die because this character was sort of earmarked to die from the start. And they don't. But the reality was so much worse. And me and Becky were both sat there like, because it really, really builds it towards, yep, that's it. This person's shit out of luck. This person is going to die, and that's horrendous. Because the manner in which it's happening is is brutal as fuck. I'm sorry, all right. I get trumpy when I'm emotional.
Jesus.
But then when this character actually ends up, for want of a better way of putting it, surviving this particular incident, but living no sort of life, having no sort of quality of life, it's horrendous.
Fucking, yeah, you're not kidding. Oh, Jesus.
I'm sorry.
Got my eyes watered out.
it's the are they going they're going to die? No, they're not. But the reality is much worse. But then another character dies, and I don't think it's even the death of this character didn't bring me close to tears at all, as sad as it were. It was the other characters remembering this character and talking about this character to like this character's family members and who weren't there at the time.
It's like there's a spoiler I've seen already, and I've only just started watching it. And I said to her, well, that's like a really obvious spoiler. So in obviously the first episode of Stranger Things, Will has gone missing, and episode 2 or 3 they find his body.
Yeah.
In later seasons, he's not dead. And I'm like, I figured that bit out already.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, I know. I haven't got to the whole thing yet, but I was just kind of like, just okay.
No.
Fair enough.
What a noise. High pitched squeaking.
It's Jake's hat.
Oh, is it?
That weren't high pitched or squeaky.
I think. Yeah.
Are you sure it's not your ass?
Definitely not my bottom.
I think a lot of mine are when they've had to kill the character because the person playing the character. Like I said earlier, when Dermot, whatever his name is from Father Ted, when he died, I remember that being such a big thing, and I was like, well, this is the end of Father Ted. I know it was, like you said, it was going to be the end of Father Ted.
Yeah, they weren't going to make any more anyway, yeah.
But it just seemed to me like they stopped making it because he died. So there was no more Father Ted because he died. So that was I remember that being quite a big one because I don't know what, when did it stop Father Ted?
Oh, it was late 90s.
I remember watching them all. We watched them all. We all talked about them. Oh, have you seen latest Father Ted? So when he died, it were a big thing. So I think a lot of mine are not
because
necessarily
the actor playing that person's died.
Yeah, when unfortunately the actors died or the actresses died, so therefore they have to kill off the character.
Yeah.
And how they kill off the character.
Yeah, I mean, I've not talked about it for a while, so I'm going to talk about it. In Doctor Who, there's a really, really sweet off-screen bit because the character of the Brigadier, who was a staple in the 70s and 80s, sort of 60s and 70s rather, was played by a guy called Nicholas Courtney, and he was meant to return in Matt Smith's series just for a nice fleeting appearance, but unfortunately died before they could film it. And he hadn't appeared in Doctor Who since 1989, so it's going to be a nice sort of big comeback and things like that. But he died. Obviously, he died before they could film it, and there was a really nice bit. He was meant to be the Doctor was phoning the nursing home he was meant to be in because he was meant to be an old character. It was really quite nice because he said, "Oh no, sorry, he died in his sleep. He died in his bed. He died asleep." Which is a nice callback because the last time he saw him, you thought he'd died because he'd heroically done something to save the world. And the doctor said, "Oh no, you were meant to die of old age in your bed, not like this." And he goes, "Actually, Doctor, I'm still alive. I had the cigarette case." No, so it was a really nice callback to that last scene they had together, and it was a really, really sweet kind of, I think, really emotional moment of kind of going. It was one of the last connections to the original series.
Yeah.
So that was quite sad.
I think there's two off the top of my head now that I've just thought of, but they are certainly two character deaths that affected me, sort of emotionally speaking. The first being John Coffey in Green Mile. I'm reading Green Mile at the minute, so I'm in a bit of a vibe at the minute for that, but it were quite horrible, really. You spend the entire, and granted it's a long entire 3 hours, however long it is, thinking this guy's going to get off because he's a miracle, he's got special powers, he's a good person, he didn't do it, he's going to get off, and then that sort of bleak realisation actually that he weren't.
Yeah, he wasn't going to,
and the other one, simply because it pulls no punches and it's brutal as fuck, not because it's a brutal death. Again, it's the ones that are left behind that make it sad, and that's Faith, Outlander.
Which one was?
It's the one where she has a stillborn little girl, stillborn.
Oh God, yeah.
And there's a lot where she refuses. She's still holding the baby for a large part of the episode.
That was
so
that was
pretty hard to watch.
But it's like showing how middle class I am. Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
There were two in Downton Abbey because when the first one was when Sybil gives birth, and it's like, oh, it's a difficult birth. It's a difficult birth. And they're really going to gear up that, you know, one of them, if not both of them, is going to die, and then they have the birth, and everyone's fine, and everyone's grand. They go, oh, it was just, you know, dramatic wait and dramatic eye, and then Sybil dies because
She has a fit afterwards.
she has a fit, and she turned out she had an infection. And they didn't pick it up because it's all like another storyline about snobbery and stuff like that. Because if Robert had gone through the proper doctor rather than a doctor who happens to be a sir, he might have picked it up. So that's that kind of thing. But then the other one, which I think hits even harder, is when the dog dies. When Isis dies in the last series, that's horrific. Because Hugh Bonneville, because they're kind of playing up throughout the series that the dog's getting a bit old. Because by this point, the dog's going to be like 14, which is quite old for a Labrador.
Yeah.
So at the end of the episode, she's not very well. And so at the end of the episode is just Hugh Bonneville holding this great big golden Labrador and going, she's going to sleep in my room tonight. I don't think she wants to be alone. It's just such a sweet moment.
I'll tell you what, it's Hugh Bonneville that makes...
Oh, yeah,
that,
selling it,
because
yeah.
several episodes later when he gets the puppy, his face, the heartbreak of the dog dying episode is worth it for his face when he sees
when he gets the new dog, yeah.
There's one other one which, again, unfortunately the actor died, so they had to do it this way. Grandad.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in which, I mean, they make a big joke out of it later on, when Del Boy finds the hat.
Yes.
What he does after finding the hat is a genuine reaction. They said to him, so we're going to do this thing and we're going to leave something of Leonard Pierce's on this car, and you find it and you do what you would do.
Okay.
And he finds the hat and he strokes the hat. And that, to me, were like...
Yeah, that was...
I mean, Grandad is my favourite. I prefer Grandad of Uncle Albert. I know there's a lot more funnier episodes with Uncle Albert.
It's different types. It's different types
I
of
much
humour,
prefer Grandad. I really do.
That's the bit that gets me most in that episode, when they've had the party and people are sort of leaving, and Rodney's not happy because Del's being Del Boy and he's talking to everybody. And he sort of confronts him about it, and he basically accuses him of being, don't care about Grandad.
Yeah.
And that speech from Del after that is just...
The only other speech that's really good
heartbreaking.
is when they're in the lift in the second to last episode and Cassandra's miscarried.
You mean the true second to last episode, not the
Well,
last 3 days.
So it would have been Heroes and Villains?
No, that was...
That was the last one, wasn't it?
It was
No.
Heroes and
Time in
Villains.
Our Hands or something.
Time in the Hand.
No, Time in the Hand was the last one, because that was the...
Yeah, but she had the
She
miscarriage in
miscarried
Modern... She had the
at the
miscarriage
end.
in
That
Modern
one.
Men.
At the end of Modern Men,
Yeah.
And Del Boy just stops the lift.
Yeah, very well.
And
very well
to
done.
get him to talk, to get him to open
very,
up.
very well
That,
done.
I mean, David Jason's great. He's a fucking
Fantastic
great actor.
actor.
And again, I'm sure we've said this before, but that to me is partly a situational drama, because it's stuff like that happens. Miscarriages happen. People die. It's not a comedy
the
at that point.
Genius of John Sullivan, really, weren't it? Is being able to weave comedy throughout very real life, very upsetting situations.
Yeah. When Grandad died, that were one. But again, Grandad had to die because Leonard Pierce had died.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people that have died that aren't fictional characters but are the actors that I've like when Roger Lloyd Peck died. You think even if they did a Fools and Horses, not they should, but if they did, there's going to be no trigger. There's going to be no voice now. There's going to be. So yeah, I think the main one for me that I'm not over is Dean Winchester. That'd be the one.
I think we can't talk about unexpected deaths without mentioning Game of Thrones. Sean Bean, I mean, it's one of them.
No, that's expected because Sean Bean dies in everything.
So he should die, but also at the same time, you expect his character. It's one of them 11th hour things. You expect some
some saviour,
and there wasn't that.
That's the thing with Game of Thrones. It kind of got to the point where no death meant it, because anyone could die at any point.
Yeah,
so
which
no
is
death.
more realistic.
Yeah, so no death really meant anything, because anyone could,
Yeah.
You do the whole kind of, oh my god, sudden death once. It's
Well,
like, okay, yeah, but if you do it every week, it's like.
Fair, doesn't Jon Snow die technically at some point through
at the end of one season? Jon Snow's killed off. Yeah.
And then he comes back in the next season, kind of thing. So
the beginning of the next series.
Yeah. It's like Supernatural. Oh, he's died. Oh no, he's died. Oh, what we're gonna do? Oh, hang on, next season he's back. Don't matter.
It's only hell. Hell can't go to anything. Another one again from the boys I've just watched recently. It's not a spoiler because it's not technically a character, but it's so the whale thing you've seen already. But the most shocking death, me and Becky both sat watching it, and there's a moment where we're like, that's pretty grim as a death, but then it gets so much worse. There's one character in it who's like basically Aquaman. He talks to the fishes.
He's not allowed to do little. He's Aquaman. He's not allowed to do it.
No, he's
Dr. Doolittle talks to the fishes.
Specifically fish and sea-bound animals. And he's, for whatever reason, he's kidnapped a dolphin, and he's having this conversation, which obviously can only hear the Deep, and the Deep's a really shitty individual. Like, he's a really crap superhero and person. And he's got this dolphin hung up on this thing. It's like you know like what they lift a cow into the raptor enclosure. It's like one of them, and it's got like water sprinkling on it, so it's all safe. And he's talking to this thing, and you can only hear his side, and dolphins just giving like dolphin noises and what have you. And then the last thing you hear before the tragedy ensues is the Deep saying, "Yeah, all right then, I'll touch it, just around the top though, yeah." and dolphin starts like getting all excited and flapping its tail and what have you.
I bet the dolphin
So
does.
there's clearly some excitement going on there, but then he has to slam brakes on, and dolphin goes flying through windscreen, and it's slow motion, because as it goes past the Deep, dolphin just looks at him like that with this big smile on its face, powers through windscreen, lands on floor all bloody, and then rolls out into the middle of the road. And then Deep's just sat there like at wheel of his car looking like shocked, and me and Becky were just sat there like shit. But then an 18-wheeler comes past and turns it all to mush, and we both just went, fucking hell. So good. I mean, it's horrendous, but it's so good. Yeah, so that was a good character death. The horny dolphin.
The horny dolphin. Well, I mean, I think the horny dolphin, if there's nothing else to add,
It's a good name for a pub. If nothing else, the Horny Dolphin's a good name for a pub.
we should change our cabin names to the Horny Dolphin.
The Horny Dolphin podcast.
No, not the Cabin Night podcast. We should change the name of the cabins.
The Horny Dolphin. That's what yours. When you eventually get a cabin,
That when you
yours
get
is
your
called
cabin.
I hereby open the Horny Dolphin.
Yeah.
I think he's very pleased.
And we
about it.
smash a bottle of Kraken over it. And James drinks it off the floor.
Yeah.
Because James loves the Kraken.
I do. I've not had the stomach to drink it for a while. Yeah, since that infamous night.
Anything else?
I'll say just one quick final one. You talk about books and stuff like that. One that I've not got over it is book You Let Me, Pillars of the Earth. Tom's death.
Tom's death's
quite horrific.
senseless.
Quite senseless, just in the middle of a random. There's so many raids throughout the book. You just think, oh, it's just another raid.
Yeah.
And it literally ends with basically going, oh, there's a hoof above my head. And just poof, and he gets stamped, he gets trampled to death. And the next one goes, so Tom was dead underneath the horse. You go, oh right, okay, that's into that.
Isn't the Book of Woman in Black different to the?
Every version of Woman in Black's got a different ending.
Because doesn't Arthur die?
Arthur dies in the film version.
The original film.
The Daniel Radcliffe version.
He dies in the 1989 version.
There's a different death there. It's a different death.
Different type of death. He dies in the Daniel Radcliffe version, but he survives in the book.
Right. Okay.
And he survives in the stage show.
Yeah, because he's telling the actor what to play.
And that's essentially the story in the book. Is that this is sort of much more modern times, and he's telling the story to his grandkids about the time when he was younger.
So the book and the stage show are very similar in that.
No,
I mean
it's just quite
in the
different
fact
thing,
that he's
but
telling
in
the story.
Yeah.
In the fact that he's telling.
Yeah,
it's him that's telling
in the
story.
book, his family are on a pony and trap going around Hyde Park, and he happens to see the woman stood under a tree, and then there's like screaming and whatever in the pony and trap that's carrying his son.
That's quite similar to the stage show, though, isn't it? That.
It's Pony and Trap.
Pony and Trap definitely in the stage show, yeah.
Crashed into a tree and his wife.
I don't know if it's a tree particularly, but it's definitely.
I think it's raised. I think raised up.
But
Yeah,
then
definitely Pony and Trap.
obviously in the Daniel Radcliffe version, it's a train that kills Arthur and his son, and then in the original film, they all survive. He's on a boating lake and he sees a stood on lake out in distance, and then a tree collapses onto the boat and kills them all.
Oh, okay. Nice depressing end.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the Horny Dolphin.
The Horny Dolphin. You've been great. We've been the Horny Dolphin. Good night.